All right, we're going to go ahead and get started. Let me just fade out De La Soul. I don't know if any of you are as excited as I am, but De La Soul was one of the big streaming holdouts, but earlier this year they finally joined the platforms, and it's very exciting. All right, so welcome everyone to the monthly NEOSTEM meeting. We're very happy to have you here with us today. Feels like it's been a minute. I don't know, Ebony. It feels like it's been longer than a month. I think because the last time we were together, we were at the Cuyahoga County Library. If you haven't had a chance yet to attend one of the in-person meetings, man, I got to tell you, we're going to keep some of these virtuals. Ebony's going to keep some of these virtuals because it allows folks who can't get to an in-person to join us. But there is nothing like everyone being in the room together. And what we're doing, Ebony and John are working with different organizations around Northeast Ohio, and they're finding different locations. So it's not like, if you've been around for a long time, it's not like when we're in that same building, either the Cleveland Foundation building or the Digital C building over and over and over again. We're moving around to different locations. And the coolest part to me is that each of these locations isn't just an opportunity for you to see each other in person, to talk. That's critical. But it's also an opportunity for you to hear from and see what those organizations do. So most recently, we're at the Cuyahoga County Library, where we learned about the immense opportunities they have all over the region for making and digital fabrication, machines and equipment that schools don't have, things that you can go use for print 3D things like this big, and they charge you like $2.50 or something ludicrous like that. So there's some really, really exciting stuff and machines I've never heard of, and I'm kind of in this business and I've never heard of them. So that's exciting. Ebony, do we know where the next in-person one is going to be?
We do. One of my favorite places, Cuyahoga Valley National Park. We all have a national park in our backyard. Some people frequent it all the time. Some people ride through on bicycles. People like me, I'm generally a bicycle person. I ski there. I was there skiing all season. So, heck yeah, that's where we're going to be. And we're going to check out their visitor center and talk about some of their educational programs. And for anyone who's all in, we could just go ahead and hike too. I'm all for it, Jeremy. All
Ebony,
for it.
I need to arrange my schedule because I am down for a hike after that meeting for sure. John just put the registration, the Eventbrite in the chat there. So go ahead and sign up for that. Even if you're not 100% sure you can make it, go ahead and sign up so it'll be on your calendar and all those things, and try to make it. It's really, really critical, and it's a lot of fun. Ebony, I have this dream. If any of you are in a school right now, turn your volume down a tiny bit. I'm not saying anything real bad. But I have this dream. They've got this thing called Ales on Rails at the Cuyahoga Valley National Park, where you get on the train and at every stop, there's a different brewery and you have a beer. I want to do that still with the beer, but also with a STEM activity at each location. So one of these days we'll make that happen. All right, so I want to hear about a couple of quick updates before we move on to the main event. And the first of those is, kind of the main event these days, the biggest, splashiest thing that we do, and that's Score with STEM. John, it's coming up real soon. Where are we? You are muted.
I was muted. I don't even know, man. Things are getting crazy with Score with STEM. It is turning into a really, really fantastic event. We're super excited to have, upwards of 2,000 people coming to this. And the reason we're excited is because there's going to be such a good turnout. But in terms of what we're going to have, the content to be offered, the exhibits that are going to be there, it's going to be even better than last year. We've got NASA coming in with a 30-foot rocket, a model of the Artemis rocket that's going around the moon. We've got Swagelok, an industrial giant in Northeast Ohio, is coming in, and they're going to have a lot of competition activities with kids in floating balloons and things like that, with different kinds of Swagelok products. We've got all the museums are all coming. The Great Lakes Science Center, the aquarium, the Natural History Museum, and we've got some other new ones too. We just heard from GE Lighting. They're going to be coming in and showing us about smart bulbs, and then we're going to have a lot of other just really fun and interesting things. So this is going to be an exciting event for us. We've been putting it out on all of our email communications and on our Twitter feed about the different ways to sign up, the different ways to participate. There's still time to do that. For everybody that wants to be an exhibitor, if you got something cool, you want a table, it's all hands on deck at this point. Everybody can come in. It's an open forum. So we want to have as much representation from the community as we can. Have I covered everything so far? But boy, it's just going to be an amazing thing. Jeremy, what else am I missing here?
I think that's about it. And most of you were there last year, so you know the drill. It's an opportunity for us to really expose all sorts of young people in the Cleveland area to STEM in a way that is a little bit different than the ways that they've maybe been previously exposed to STEM. And you can see as you walk around the facility, the faces of these kids lighting up and getting excited about science and math and engineering because we trick them. We trick them by making it about basketball, and it brings them in, and then we get to hook them and show them not only all these great opportunities, but also in partnership with the Cavs that if you want to be in the world of basketball, you don't necessarily have to be a professional player. Instead, there are all sorts of jobs, engineering and science and facilities management, all sorts of things. So it is very exciting. So John, thank you for that. I do see a couple folks have put some stuff in chat, so I'm going to pull them out real quick. If anybody else has any, go ahead and do that as well. And the first is our friend Jessica Cohen. Jessica, I know, one of the folks who's involved with that Ohio X Summit is my friend and former business school strategy professor, Elad Granot, and he's been trying to get me to come. So now that you mentioned it too, I'm going to have to attend. Jessica, could you tell us a little bit about the Ohio X EdTech Summit?
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks so much, Jeremy. So OhioX is the statewide tech and innovation association. So you get a statewide event right in our backyard in University Heights, which is always nice that you don't have to travel. But this is the second time that we're doing it. Elad is definitely involved, and the idea is to highlight tech in education and bring, education leaders, tech leaders from across the state together. There's going to be conversation about Ohio's role in technology and education. They have a keynote. I'm looking at the agenda now. Steve Grubbs, who's the co-founder and CEO of Victory XR, how 4 new technologies will define our future. There's going to be all sorts of breakouts on AI, VR, customized learning, how to build relationships with the tech industry. So I feel like this was a good group that they might be interested in these type of things because it's going to be all about how to apply technology in the education space. So it's not very expensive. Early bird tickets are around. It's a short drive for most folks in the Northeast Ohio area. And hope to see a lot of you there.
It'd be great, Ebony, John. I hate to give people work, but no, I don't when it's not me. It might be nice if we encourage everyone to sign up and attend, but also maybe we put up a Google form or a spreadsheet or whatever, and those NEOSTEM folks who are going to attend, we can put them all in there, and maybe we could meet up for coffee before or a beer after or whatever, something along those lines. Might be a good way for us to all gather at another event. I'd also like to ask Benjamin Jurek to talk for a moment. Ben, I met Erin years ago when Drink Local, Drink Tap was, I think, just a baby, and I was in the Mentor schools, and she was one of Mentor's alumni of the year because she went to Mentor High School. And so I had dinner with her and met her years. I mean, this was like 15 years ago or something at this point. And she was really, really great and inspiring. I'm so happy that Drink Local, Drink Tap is still doing the work that you're doing. Can you talk to us a little bit about your event?
Yeah, absolutely. And I guess to provide some context, Erin's currently in Uganda right now doing her international work. So her motor never stops running. It's truly remarkable. But actually, for the educational side, we're hosting our annual World Water Day celebration. This is a this is a virtual event where we're looking for community organizations like yourselves to actually join in on our pre-recorded exhibitor booth. So we're looking for 1 to 3 minutes of a video that's explaining to young people about how they can go about and accelerate change in connection to water. So if you have an environmental background or if you have any interest in water that you would like to highlight, just let me know. You can register for the event and we'll be in touch.
Thank you, Ben. And last but certainly not least, I'm going to give this a whirl. Robin Katenbach. Did I say it right? Robin Katenbach?
Nah, not really, but that's okay. I'll answer to anything.
What is it? Tell me what it is.
Kaltenbach.
Oh, that's an L.
Yeah, it's all good. It's all good.
All right.
So we have
Robin.
a really unique program at the museum this Thursday It's connecting to our ecosystems, the Moth Project. It's a Grammy-nominated composer who's written this fabulous musical piece that has everything from Bach to Janis Joplin. I mean, everything and everything. So if you like music, you're going to find something in this piece that you like. We're going to kick off the event with our Chief Science Officer, Dr. Svensson, talking about moths and the important role that they play in the environment. More importantly, what's happening with climate change and what we as humans can do to stop the decline of the biodiversity of moths and other pollinators. And then it's a 45-minute or so musical piece called the Moth Project. The name does not sell it, but I saw it when it was here in December, and I'm telling you, it is one of those things where you're going to find yourself tapping your foot and bobbing your head along to the tune. So hopefully you can come, because it is really a remarkable and very unique experience.
Excellent. Thank you. And I do think we have one more that I'm scrolling madly and seem to have lost. But Ebony is telling me that Claire has something to share with us as well. Claire.
Thank you. So it is maybe February right now for the whole world, but at YOU it is officially summertime. So our application for our summer youth employment program, I can't get it out, is officially live, as well as for our internship program. So with regard to internships, we've talked about this last year, but for this audience, consider potentially hosting as a mentor with our interns. But in terms of youth-facing requests, just really promote this opportunity to the young people in your lives. Both opportunities are open for all of Cuyahoga County. So if you have any questions, I honestly am not your point person, but I will do my darndest to find an answer for you from the YOU team. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Claire. All right, so we're about to move into the main event, Caliper, which you're going to hear about here in a second. But you should know that we are not above bribing people. And so Ebony has a little thing that she wants to announce as well before we move into Caliper. Ebony?
Thanks, Jeremy. So yeah, I'm not above bribing people. You know, it's so funny. I was in downtown Cleveland today. It's a little windy outside, and I had like a loose single in my pocket. And when I went to pull out my keys, the money like went flying. And I'm like, I'm sorry, I can't let it go. It's $1. So literally Ebony is like running downtown Cleveland chasing a single dollar bill down the street. And yes, I did get my money back. So I'm saying that to say, this one, you barely even have to work for. I literally like got my heart racing and everything to chase $1. But just for you participating in Caliper today, I'm offering you all $10 and you can just do with it what you will. So yes, it will be connected to a gift card. You can choose to say, you know what, NEOSTEM, I'm just going to do the survey. You know, you don't have to worry about compensating me for anything. But if you want to, feel free, you all. It's nothing like having that little bonus, you know, little swipe at the end that kind of lowers your bill, or just one of those things where you're like, you know what, I wasn't expecting this thing and I wanted it to happen. So yes, you will be compensated for your time today. I have in the past have sent out surveys for people where I knew without a shadow of a doubt that they were going to suck the life out of them. And I would beg and beg and beg people. But I promise you all, I have participated in Caliper before, and I would challenge you all to even ask me, to even tell me if you thought it was like painful. But to me, it's painless. I thought it was great. And you get $10 just for even doing it. But more than anything, it's just to measure us. NEOSTEM has been around before Ebony. It predates Ebony. And I know that this work requires measurement, and that's what we want to do. And we want to do it from this point forward. So as long as NEOSTEM is alive, this will become a regular thing because we need to assess what's happening with that. So yes, Jeremy, we are going to incentivize this experience today. And I even had a chance to visit one of our like sister ecosystems in Ohio, the Appalachian STEM Collaborative. We were in person, room full of folks. You know, it's I don't know what, maybe a couple of hundred folks there. I don't know our final number. It was just a bunch of people in the room. So imagine our virtual room here. Everyone took it. No one complained. It kind of went like that. But just to see that magic of all the folks who care about teaching and learning with STEM education, that's what fueled my heart. And that's what I want to see for our region. And that's why I kind of like invited everyone here today. So thank you, everyone, for joining me. I see, but Holly just so happens to like be in my screenshot, but I even took a call with her like after that event. talking about how amazing STEM education is. So these connections are always growing, and I'm glad that we're together virtually so people can kind of connect and see each other again and make their announcements. But it doesn't beat a hike in Cuyahoga Valley National Park next month. So we will be back on the road, kicking it in our national park.
Absolutely. So we're going to throw it to Sadie here in just a quick second, but the big key to all of this is that we've got to have, and Sadie will talk about this, so I might have this number wrong, but something like 50 people at a minimum in order to have statistical significance. And we need those 50 people to be in all sectors of the ecosystem. Business and industry, funders and foundations, out of school time, K-12 schools, higher education, including community colleges. So we've got to have representation across all of those areas. So that's where we need your help in both completing this information today and in getting it out to your colleagues so that we can get those numbers up there. So Sadie, I'm hoping that you can talk to us a little bit about what Caliper is, what it measures, and how it's going to help NEOSTEM progress into its next phase.
Absolutely. Thanks, Jeremy. And I'm excited to be here today. For those I haven't met yet, I'm somewhat relatively new to TIES. I joined the organization in the STEM learning ecosystem community of practice back in October. So been here about a year. I came from the National Math and Science Initiative. So long history of working with partnerships, STEM ecosystems, and STEM education across the country. So I'm excited to be here joining you all virtually today. So hopping back to Caliper, for those of you that don't know, so the whole STEM ecosystem initiative started back in 2015 with just a handful of STEM ecosystems. And a couple of years thereafter, in about 2018, when we were up to about 65 ecosystems, we really had the need to start to look at measurement. And for those of you coming from the education world, the nonprofit world, from most sectors, you know the importance of data and of being able to say, we know we're working well and we're effective, and here's some data to prove that. So after a couple iterations, Caliper was developed in partnership between TIES founder and CEO Jan Morrison and Dr. William Fisher at UC Cal Berkeley. And it's this wonderful tool that measures a system's efficacy. So like Jeremy mentioned, it's looking at the whole STEM ecosystem. So how all those different cross-sector partners work together, what they think about the ecosystems and their actions within the ecosystem. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. I'll tell you a little bit more about it. Currently, Caliper is a quick 10 to 15 minute survey that we ask all ecosystem members to take. And what it does is it looks at the 5 pillars of an ecosystem. So those 5 pillars are partnership, systems, aligned teaching and learning, measurement, and workforce. And the Caliper survey tool will ask questions in relation to each of these 5 pillars. And what's really cool is we have that over 50 number take Caliper, the more agreement we see in the questions, so the more I'm answering the same as Ebony, answering the same as everybody else, the more you move up what we call the ICICE scale. And so this is inform, consult, involve, collaborate, and empower. And Caliper will show us that maybe in the partnership column, an ecosystem is kind of at that involved stage. Stakeholder concerns and opinions and their inputs are considered. Might show us that in terms of workforce, you're at empowering. And that's kind of the pinnacle of where STEM ecosystems want to be. You want to move up that ICICE scale from inform to consult to involve to collaborate and empower. What's great though about Caliper is it's not meant to be like a report card, like you are getting an F in this category, but you are getting an A in this category. It's really a tool for each individual ecosystem to take a look at itself and say, that makes sense. We're doing really great work here, but we have room for growth in this category. And so what's going to happen is once you take Caliper, your ecosystem will get a report back, as well as some pretty easy to understand charts and infographics that show where the ecosystem is in each of those 5 pillars. For example, this is a slide we pulled from an ecosystem across the country when we recently did Caliper, and this was looking at their partnership pillar. And Caliper indicated that in partnerships, this ecosystem is at the level of collaboration with some empowerment. So that's indicating they have really strong partnerships already. And then in addition to this rating, it will also provide recommendations. So for this STEM ecosystem, even though they were doing great work in collaboration, in partnership, we knew that they needed to bolster their partnerships in terms of connecting K-12 education to other stakeholders like out of school time learning. So really taking advantage of all those community assets. Now, before we share the link, I'll pause and open it up. Any questions? And Jeremy, I can't see the chat while sharing my screen. So if there are any chat or any questions in the chat, let me know.
Absolutely, yeah. So you can go ahead and unmute and ask if you've got any. You can put them in the chat. Also, as we start to take this survey, we're going to have you all do it kind of live right now, but you can feel free to ask any questions. And I do want to mention really quickly, for those of you who haven't noticed this yet, that I put in the chat that John fixed that link, and so you should be able to get to that link. So I'm not seeing any questions. Sadie, can you just talk a little bit about, what can we expect at the end that what are we going to see that we're going to be able to action into next steps for NEOSTEM?
Great question, Jeremy. So the ecosystem will receive a long report as well as something like you see on the screen right now, a really clear, simple illustration of where the ecosystem is in terms of those 5 pillars: partnerships, systems, aligned teaching and learning, measurement, and workforce. And then it'll also contain recommendations for each of those categories. So no matter where you are in the IC-ICE scale, you'll want to move towards empowerment, and we'll provide recommendations on how to do that.
And you should also expect that some of these categories might be decent, maybe even in the empowerment, and some might be, kind of all the way down at the, what I don't know how to refer to it in any other way other than the bottom. But those of you who are in education, we should be thinking about this like a formative assessment. It's not about where are you and you get an A or an F. It's about where are you so we know how and in what ways to progress. So that's what this is. We're setting a baseline for NEOSTEM, and that'll allow Ebony to have some kind of specific areas to focus on.
Absolutely. And like Ebony mentioned too, this will be a survey you take maybe once, twice a year to just check in on the health of the ecosystem and see where improvements have been made, can continue to be made, all in the service of creating an even richer STEM ecosystem. All right, so I'm going to go ahead.
So I don't see a lot of questions. Some folks are asking about links and things, but the link for the $10 I did just put in the chat again, and now Sadie has put the link in the chat as well.
So to be clear, Jeremy, we got a link that was fixed to get the $10, and then we have the link to the actual survey, right?
That's correct. And I also just put the survey link in the chat as well. So the Google Docs link is the how do you get your $10. The bit.ly link that's on the screen right now and in the chat takes you to the survey. And it should take you just about 10 or 15 minutes, which means that at $10, you're making something between like $40 and $60 an hour, I think, to take the survey right now.
I love that. I actually love that. Okay, wait. There's something wrong. Bitly's are case sensitive, someone's saying.
Yeah.
Let me error I got.
All right, so go ahead and use that QR code if you know how to use the QR code, and if you don't, stand by.
Yeah, Jeremy, I'm having a hard time, and I'm on my phone right now, so I will try to do the QR code if I can.
Sadie, if you have the direct link somewhere that you could throw in the chat.
Yep, let me
stand by. I don't know what is happening with that Bitly. That's weird. Like it's taking me to my my Bitly account.
I had trouble with it, and then I just had to like re-enter everything and got it to pop up. All
I
right,
can
so
pull up
Sadie
the
did it
long
again.
link. I can pull up the
Let's
long
see.
link as well for you all.
Well, I don't know
Copy.
what I did wrong, but the one that Sadie just put worked
Yeah.
for me at least.
Yeah, this
If
Sadie.
anybody else is having an issue, go ahead and hit that hand raise.
Yes,
Once
so
we get
far
this all
so
squared
good.
away, I'll put on a little bit of music. If that drives
Ooh.
you crazy, you can just turn the volume down until you're done.
We used to have teachers that played music during exam time, you know, like in college.
And I also do want to say really quickly that I actually meant to say before, so I apologize. We are going to close when we end. So you've been told about the Cuyahoga Valley National Park upcoming event. I hope you're all registered for NEOSTEM. I hope that you're registered for those other events that that some of our partners talked about a little bit ago. We'll make sure that all of those links are in the follow-up email from Ebony at the end of the week. Stay on while you take the survey if you don't mind, so that we can help you if there's any issues. But once you finish, you give us a little wave or a bye in the chat, and we will see you next time. We don't want folks to have to sit around if it only takes you 5 minutes to complete.
Hey, I'm new to Shaker, and so lots of these questions I don't know, but there's not an option for me not knowing. There's just agree or disagree. So what should I do?
You should just take your best thoughts. That's built into the system, Nevin.
Okay.
The guy who did this is one of those crazy psychometric geniuses, and it's been, you know, bajillion verified and all that stuff. It is about perceptions.
Okay.
So there aren't really wrong answers. It's about it's about the likelihood that perceptions are similar across parties and sectors within the ecosystem.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
And I know, Jeremy, for one of mine, I just forwarded through when I was just like, you know, you kind of want a response, but I also didn't want to put something in there that wasn't true to my spirit. So one of them, I just had to like forward through to the next question. But yeah.